we have another big breaking update coming in because we're learning that one Secret Service agent was shot at this correspondents' dinner. Agent was hit in the West. He was wearing the West, so he was saved, is what we're learning so far. And this has happened at the Hilton Hotel, where this a particular Secret Service agent was shot at by the shooter in question when the White House Correspondents Dinner was underway, but he was hit in the West is what we're learning so far, and that is how he was saved. But this particular shooter has been taken into custody. Whether he's dead or alive is something that remains to be seen. There are several US media houses that are reporting that the shooter has been shot dead, but what we're learning so far, and this is what Donald Trump has put out on his social media, that this shooter has been taken into custody. But at the screening area at that particular hotel, we are learning that the Secret Service agent was shot at, but he was wearing the West, so that is how it was saved. Let me go back to Purnima Nath, who's a political leader based in USA. Ma'am, you live there, so you've been part of the system. How shocking is this breach to you personally? Because this incident shakes confidence in the security architecture around the top leadership. Not the first time that such an attack has happened.
President Trump especially have a massive security detail, as you can imagine. I've attended several of his rallies, and the security check starts way ahead, if the at least 5-6 hours ahead, and it's actually very difficult for anybody who has not signed up before to get in. So it's then if this shooting has happened outside and entire roads are closed, I would imagine that is so, and it doesn't make any sense in terms of how this has happened actually. If we go back to Butler shooting, where Thomas Crooks actually fired the shot, there has been in months after, there's no information from the authorities as to really what happened, what the motive was, who this person is, what the social media information is, and why and how did he become so close?
Absolutely, a very concerning incident there at the White House Correspondents Dinner. Stay on with me. In fact, we have visuals coming in of the first images shows the shooter in custody following the incident at the White House Correspondents Dinner. I'll come back to you, Purnima Nath, once again on this. Let me take our viewers through what really happened. As you can see on the screen, this appears to be the screening area just outside the hotel where the incident has happened. Now it remains to be seen where the shooter is, but as we can see on the screen, he has been taken into custody. He has been pinned to the ground, is what we can see in the visuals right here. This particular man right here, he has been pinned down to the ground, and he was taken into custody. Whether he's dead or alive is something that will come out in just some time when Donald Trump addresses the nation. But for now, he has said that this person has been taken into custody. And you can see the chaos there at the screening area that leads to the venue where the event was taking place. This person, we are learning, shot at a Secret Service agent there, but he was wearing a bulletproof vest, so he was saved. But at this point in time, what we're learning that these are the visuals emerging from that particular area where the incident happened. He shot at the Secret Service agent. What was the motive behind this? Whether he wanted to go inside and barge inside that particular venue, was Donald Trump the direct target, is something that will come out during the investigation. But very concerning visuals coming in from that particular venue, from the holding area. As you can see, the screening area where several devices have also been put up for a screening of those going inside, and that is where this person has been pinned to the ground. He has been taken into custody. What was the motive? Who is this person? Is something that will come out during the investigation. And on that, let me once again bring in my colleague Mayank. Mayank, we are getting the first visuals of the shooter who has been pinned to the ground in the screening area at that very high profile, a very highly secured hotel where this event was taking place. Take us through the details.
Yes, let's come to the second point actually. First point, we had been talking to the viewers that ingress is the most important point in discussion right now, and it will be investigated. The second investigation will be now on the person, and good if the person is alive and he has been apprehended, because not only his past will be checked, complete kind of analysis will be carried out of the links with of the person or the people with whom he is in touch, or the way that he has been behaving in last few months or some time in the past, because that will give a peep into the way or motivation because of which the person has been enraged enough to use firearms, because ultimately even single bullet is enough to kill a person. So in this case, if a person is enraged or has been motivated enough to use firearm which is aimed at somebody, the aim is to kill. So that entire analysis will be carried out, and we'll get to understand, the links will be found, and if officially things will be revealed, we'll get to understand what had been the reason or motivation behind the person's behavior in this case, which is he has shot 5 to 8 bullets into that high profile gathering at that place, and that too at a person who's most secured person in the world, actually one of the most secured person in the world.
Absolutely, and those are the visuals on your screen. Let me once again take you through what has happened there at the screening area of this very highly secured hotel, highly secured, even that took place there, that is related to the White House Correspondent Dinner. As you can see on the screen, the first images shows the shooter in custody following the incident at the White House Correspondent Dinner, pinned to the ground at the screening area. What was the motive? Who is this shooter is something that will come out. But in a post on social media just after the incident, Donald Trump has mentioned that he has been taken into custody. And most importantly, the president, first lady, vice president, the cabinet ministers there, and also the journalists, political leaders, they all are safe. No injuries, we're learning till now, have been reported. This person that you can see on the screen, surrounded by the Secret Service agents, he has been taken into custody. In fact, what we're learning so far, as per the reports, he fired at the Secret Service agent there at the screening area. What was the motive? Did he want to barge inside? But as of now, we're learning that he has been taken into custody. Several other visuals also emerging from US media of him being seen pinned to the ground by the Secret Service agents there. Very concerning what has happened as far as the White House Correspondent Dinner is concerned. All right, let me once again go back to Purnima Nath on this. Purnima, from your experience, you have attended, as you mentioned, a lot of such events. How layered is the security as such events, and where could a breakdown really occur? Bringing that question to you, Mayank, take us to multi-layer security that is put in place at such events. Take us to the details.
So to make our viewers, at least in India, understand the way that the multi-layered security is, in India, a special security elite services was created, which is SPG, Special Protection Guard, which was created. After that comes the people who are actually SDG, Special Duty Groups are there, which has people either from one force or the other force. The third is there are snipers which are put all across the places wherein the VIP, in this case, let's say Prime Ministers, are moving. So it is always a multi-layered security which works in tandem with the intelligence agencies. So the place wherein a person or a VIP is visiting, first a sort of an analysis or investigation of the place is done, whether that place is safe enough for the VIP. If something occurs, how will the VIP will be ushered out or will whisked off from that area. These are the ways and means by which a place is sanitized. Sanitation also takes place to the extent that much before the VIP or the person in point is visiting that place is sanitized to the extent that even, the dogs are used, who smell everything actually. There are metal detectors which are used. Whether there is anything which could jeopardize the event or could be danger, could create a danger to the VIP, or will there be... So all these kinds of profiling is done, investigation is done, analysis is done.
All right, so multiple layer of security there at such events, and expected because there was president, vice president, first lady, several of the high-profile journalists, political leaders there as well. So security there is required, and because of the swift action, we are learning that the shooter has been taken into custody, the president and all the other political leaders, the people who are attending that particular event, they are currently safe. But those who are just joining us, let us take you through what has happened and show you the visuals there on the screen. Shots were fired inside the White House Correspondent Dinner. That was the venue, one of the most high-profile, high-security events in the United States. Have a look at the visuals on your screen. Shots were fired. We're learning that after that, there are visuals of President Donald Trump ducking. He was quickly taken off the stage as this situation unfolded. Heavily armed United States Secret Service agents, they moved in immediately, securing the venue, escorting the president, the vice president, the first lady out under a tight protection. We're learning so far that the shooter has been taken into custody. But this is very concerning because what was meant to be a formal and a high-profile evening quickly turned into a scene of panic and a high-profile evening that led to confusion, because those other visuals on your screen, the first one in which you can see the correspondents there, the journalists there attending this particular event. In utter confusion, there is chaos there at that venue, not able to apprehend what has happened there. But at this point, details are emerging. There's still no official confirmation on whether there were any injuries, but it also remains unclear how the shooter managed to enter such a heavily secured venue. We're learning that this incident happened at the screening area. He fired at the Secret Service agent there, but he was wearing a vest, so he was not injured at all. But this raises serious question about the possible security breach. Investigation has started. The agencies are going to examine every angle, but the key takeaway at this point in time is that shots were reported inside this very high-profile, highly secured venue. The president was safely taken out of that area. He has been taken to the White House, from where he will be addressing the nation in just some time. And the shooter has been taken into custody. The motive, who he is something that will come out during the investigation. The president, the vice president, cabinet minister, journalists, and several political leaders who were there at that point when the incident happened, they were also taken out. And the area has been fortified, is what we are learning so far. Mayank, bringing you again on this, we are learning that in just some time, Donald Trump will be addressing the nation. What message would he give to the nation at this point in time? Because this is not the first time that he has come under direct attack. It remains to be seen whether he was under direct attack in this particular case as well. But all eyes will be on the big address to the nation.
See, I mean, it would be interesting to hear the president after such a dangerous incident. I mean, it could have been dangerous or could have put his life in danger. So it would be interesting to hear the kind of messages which he'll bring out. And in the last time also, in the case of Pennsylvania, wherein a bullet had escaped through his ears, actually, and the person in point, the person who had aimed at him, was killed at that place. So in this case also, in that case also, we saw that the president was not the one who was thinking of leaving the place, unless the security entourage would have forced him out of the place. So you can understand that the president, his first nature is to stay, even if it is a dangerous place. So let us wait and listen to what he is going to say. That would be something interesting. And then only we'll be able to comprehend, one, and two, analyze the way the things have moved, and whether he'll be talking about the incident or not. That is a matter to be seen.
Absolutely. So all eyes will be on the big address of Donald Trump to the nation in just some time. What he has to say is something that remains to be seen. But let me take you through what that he might come back to that particular event, but now it doesn't appear. So we are learning that he will be addressing the nation in just another 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so those are the latest visuals that are emerging as far as the entire incident is concerned. All right, so those are the visuals on your screen of the incident that took place at the White House Correspondents Dinner.
Able to completely get in. There was just no pat downs, no metal detectors, nothing going on. So really horrible setup, and I just don't even understand how that was a thing when the United States president was going to speak, who has already had assassination attempts on his life. So really crazy. How did somebody get a gun into the White House Correspondents Dinner? Honestly, as somebody who went, there was no security. You just showed your ticket and you were able to completely get in. There was just no pat downs, no metal detectors, nothing going on. So really horrible setup, and I just don't even understand how that was a thing when the United States president was going to speak, who has already had assassination attempts on his life. So really crazy. How did somebody get a gun into the White House Correspondents Dinner? Honestly, as somebody who went.
All right, so
able to complete.
the visuals on the screen that have emerged from the White House Correspondent Dinner. Let me once again go back to my colleague Mayank on this. Mayank, there are several reports as well hinting that the shooter has been shot dead by the agencies there, but also a confirmation coming in from Donald Trump that he has been only taken into custody. Has any clarity emerged from that?
Not yet actually, but then the president has made a statement or come out on Truth Social. He has been apprehended. This is the word he has used actually, and that if it is so, then it is very important because the person in point, the person who has carried out the shooting, will be analyzed. He'll be talked to, investigated, and I mean that will bring so many things out and that will give a peep into not only the person in point actually. Was there any motivation? Was there any kind of a instigation which has worked on him? That all analysis will be carried out, and that will give it a peep into the larger aspect of it. Whether now, I mean, we cannot associate the action currently with other things as of now. Then only it will be able, people will be able to associate it, whether it is a political...
Absolutely. So the shooter has been taken into custody. Who he is, what was the motive, was Donald Trump in direct threat, is something that will come out during the investigation. Let me also go across to Peter Kuznick, geopolitical expert. Thanks so much for joining us here on the broadcast. How do you look at this entire situation that unfolded just 1 hour back? What's your reading of this?
I think it's terrible. There's much too much violence in the United States and in the world. The United States is awash in guns. There's open carry. People are allowed to carry weapons openly in much of the country. Donald Trump is a much reviled and hated figure right now. People blame him for the Epstein files. They blame him for the invasion, the war in Iran. They blame him for the high prices, that some crazy person or a lone wolf would have a grievance and want to shoot the president. Terrible as that is not that surprising. You know, there's already been a lot of criticism of the Secret Service, the way they've handled other situations. This goes back years, it goes back decades. And they seem to have not done a very good job in this case either. One of your people on before said they weren't even screening them when they went into the dinner. Other people I've spoken to tonight said they were heavily screened, but not going into the hotel. Right now, we don't have a lot of information. So what behooves us is to stay calm, wait till we get better information, and then decide. But you have to realize that Trump's approval ratings are at a record low level. People blame him for all kinds of things. This is the wrong way to deal with it. There's impeachment, there's the 25th Amendment, there's upcoming elections. People can deal with this peacefully. But this kind of effort is very, very dangerous, very disconcerting, very upsetting, and very predictable. So I'm not happy with the way it was handled, and I'm certainly not happy that it's occurred.
Absolutely, because the last time when Donald Trump was shot at, he garnered a lot of sympathy, and that was before the presidential election. So this time, according to you, do you think this incident will dent the perception of the leadership? Could this become a political flashpoint?
I don't think it's going to have any impact on Trump's polling.
All right.
You know, the last time was a very different kind of incident. You know, and he said that he was saved by God in the previous assassination attempt. There were a lot of people at the time who said he was saved by Satan. And now there are more Americans who would agree with that perspective. But this is not about that. This is a terrible, disturbing, frightening incident that should not have happened, and that no president should ever be assassinated or be in that kind of danger. I'm upstairs having dinner with 15 of my students and friends, including one who's a former top CIA official, you know, and they're very skeptical. I'm not skeptical. I just want to wait for more information. And we shouldn't be careful not to jump the gun, not to presume anything. And it's possible, there are a lot of other members of that cabinet who are hated as much as Donald Trump. It might not even be an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. There's Pete Hegseth. Most Americans think he's horrible. Maybe it was Hegseth, maybe it was Miller, maybe it was one of these other people. We should not jump to conclusions, but it's certainly a terrible thing, no matter who was the target, that this happened.
Absolutely, and the incident took place in the screening area is what we are learning. So according to you, do you think that the action was swift, or do you think the chain broke? There was intelligence, access control, response time. Did the agencies falter in that, or according to you, it was all good that they acted swiftly?
I'm glad they acted quickly. I'm glad nobody was hurt other than possibly the shooter. We don't even know for sure. I hope he's still alive. I hope we can find out from him what motivated this dangerous and crazy act. But I'm not surprised. At this point, the United States is very polarized. And a lot of the people who don't like Donald Trump don't simply disagree with him. They viscerally hate the man. They think he's responsible for ruining their lives. They think he's responsible for killing thousands of people overseas in these wars, or hurting dozens or hundreds or thousands of innocent young girls. So what we are now in the United States is not a very rational, balanced, composed society where we debate things rationally. There are a lot of people who are very angry and capable of taking justice into their own hands and doing it violently. I hate to see it. I hate to see what's happened to our country.
Concerning what happened there at the high-profile event. Thanks so much, sir, for connecting with us. But we have more update on who the shooter actually is, because we're learning so far that the shooter is a male from California. And in fact, that is what we're learning so far, that he is a 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen from California. Let me go back to my colleague Mayank on this. Mayank, do tell us more about the suspect shooter in question, because we are learning that he is from the United States, a 31-year-old man named Cole Thomas Allen.
A youth person of 31 years old, and that means he's in an active phase of his life. So there would be, as our previous expert from the United States has brought out, that there are multiple people who are harboring grievances against the president, and that too on multiple issues, not only the local policies, but also the way the things are dealt across the globe in terms of the war which is going on right now, which is on Iran also. So there are multiple layers of grievance instigations, or the reasons which people have been talking about, and our previous expert talked about it. In this case, the person is 31 years old, which is very active age, we consider from that perspective, and profiling the age aspect is concerned. So the person with 31 years age carrying a gun, as the person, US has very liberal laws to own a gun. And a gun or a rifle or a pistol, or there are multiple bores and types of weaponry. In this case, the profile of the weaponry will come out later. So this person has used a weapon, which means the person was actually in a state that he was ready to kill people. That can be understood from, as of now, the first reports are. So
absolutely. So what was the motive? Whether he wanted to attack Donald Trump, was he in direct attack, is something that will come out during the investigation. Stay on with us, Mayank. Let's listen in to what really happened there at the event. There on your screens, captured on camera the moment of attack there at the White House Correspondents Dinner is what we're learning so far. The shooter has been taken into custody. President, Vice President, the First Lady, they all are safe is what we're learning. Donald Trump saying that the show must go on, but in just some time we are learning that he will be addressing the nation in just another few minutes. Coming back to you, Mayank, on that, Mayank, for those who are just joining in, could you take us to what really happened there at this high-profile event, highly secured event as well, the White House Correspondent Dinner? What really happened? Who the shooter is? Has he been taken into custody? Are all the people safe?
Yes, very important point. A very big incident has happened wherein a security breach has been reported in White House Correspondents Dinner. So there were almost between 5 to 8, as the reports say, gunshots heard there, and the shooter, who is said to be a 31-year-old U.S. citizen, he has been apprehended as of now, and there is no danger to life because the person has been apprehended. The security entourage has taken out President's part is that the profiling will be carried out now on the shooter who has been there. But then lots of questions have been raised, the way the security multi-layered cordon has been ingressed. So that will come into question. This is after there had been incidents in past also in the US, because US has a history of almost 4 presidents who were killed, whether they once they had left the seat of president or they were in harness. And last was the President J.F. Kennedy in 1963. So this is a major incident which has taken place in the US. The most secured person of the country, who's the executive head of the country, there is a security breach in his there's security breach reported, and a person was able to carry his gun, the arm, and was able to fire 5-6 gunshots. As of now, no report have come out that whether a person is injured or not. So that's the best part. But then the person has been apprehended by the security forces, and investigations will be launched. And we are hearing that now President is about to address the nation post the incident.
Absolutely. All eyes will be on the big address of Donald Trump to the nation. But have the look at the visuals on your screen, because this is a massive breaking story we're tracking at this hour. There are reports of shots being fired inside the White House Correspondents' Dinner venue, triggering a full-scale security response that you can see on the screen at one of the most high-profile events in the United States. President Donald Trump, the First Lady, and all the attendees, the cabinet ministers who were there. In fact, at that venue, they were taken to safety. The journalists were asked to duck down. They were asked to duck down there, and then they were also all taken out. We're also getting confirmation that the shooter is in custody after he was pinned down to the ground by security personnel inside the venue. Heavily armed U.S. Secret Service agents, they moved in within seconds, as you can see on the stage, securing the area and preventing what could have escalated into a far more dangerous situation. Investigation has been formally launched. Multiple agencies are expected to examine how he, in fact, managed to breach the security. He arrived at that checking point as well. What really stands out at this point in time is the speed of the response. The suspect was subdued on the spot, and the president was swiftly evacuated from that particular area, and he has been taken to safety. He will be arriving at the White House, and from there he will be addressing the nation. We're also learning that President Trump is expected to address the nation, which will be quite crucial in providing clarity on what really happened there at this incident. This comes, remember, against the backdrop of earlier security scares involving President Donald Trump, raising fresh concern of the threat perception and the preparedness there as well. But at this point in time, details are still emerging. There is no confirmation yet on the injuries or the motive behind this incident. But at this point in time, the key developments are that the shots were reported inside the venue. The president, the first lady, they are safe. The shooter has been taken into custody. The full probe is now underway. This is a fast developing story, and we will continue to get you more updates on that. Let me once again go back to my colleague Mayank on this. Mayank, take us to what really happened inside the venue, because there were several journalists as well, and they are reporting that they were asked to duck down as soon as they learnt about this incident. What is the situation now? Has anyone received any injury?
See, it is an institutionalized dinner, which often happens with the wherein the president holds a dinner for the correspondents who cover White House as a beat. So just to make things very, to start with, in this case, while the breach has taken place, there is no report of anybody getting wounded has come out as of now. While the person in point, or the person who has used a gun to fire, a rifle or pistol to fire upon the people, that profile will also come out, what kind of a weapon the person has used. It is not yet out. So that is also not yet out. And so he was able to shoot between 5 to 8 bullets. That's what we are hearing of. And but since nobody has got injured, that means the person was, whether he was aiming at someone or not, that has to be yet to be seen. But
वो अपनी ट्रेज लेके अंदर की तरफ भागे और उसी वक्त मुझे लगा कि कुछ सही नहीं है और कुछ सिक्योरिटी लैप्स हुई है इस टाइम पर। सारे लोग जो हैं, जो टेबल्स पे अपना डिनर कर रहे थे, फर्स्ट कोर्स कर रहे थे, वो टेबल के नीचे छुपने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, ग्राउंड पे लेट गए। ये कुछ तकरीबन 5-10 मिनट ऐसे चलता रहा और जैसे मैं उठी और जैसे मुझे लगा कि अभी मैं सेफ हूँ, तो मैंने स्टेज की तरफ देखा, तो उतने में प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप को सबसे पहले सिक्योर कर दिया गया था। जो फर्स्ट लेडी है मेलानिया ट्रंप, उन्हें भी लेके चले गए थे वहां से एक सेफ जोन पे। और तकरीबन 12-13 मिनट के बाद जो कैबिनेट मेंबर्स हैं, स्कॉट बेसेंट थे, पीट हेग्सेट थे, काश पटेल थे, जो जिन्हें मैं थोड़ी देर पहले ही मिली थी और हम कैजुअली बात कर रहे थे, उन्हें बाहर निकाला गया। कैरोलाइन लेविट को बाहर निकाला गया। जो सारे बेसिकली कैबिनेट के मेंबर्स हैं, उन सभी को यहाँ से निकाला गया। और तकरीबन 30-35 मिनट्स के बाद पूरी जो होटल है उसको सील कर दी गई थी। सील करने के बाद एक अनाउंसमेंट हुई कि ये जो प्रोग्राम है बंद कर दिया जाएगा और इसे वापस पोस्टपोन कर दिया जाएगा, जहां प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप वापस आएंगे। और प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप ने ये अनाउंसमेंट की है कि एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस भी की जाएगी जो अभी व्हाइट हाउस में होने वाली है। सो ओवरऑल ये डेफिनेटली एक सिक्योरिटी लैप्स है कहीं ना कहीं, कि एक गनमैन जो है एक गन लेकर इतनी सिक्योर जगह में आके और उसने फायरिंग की है। आने वाले वक्त में हमें पता चलेगा सारी डिटेल्स का इन द नेक्स्ट मे बी 1 hour or so. In Washington DC, Reena Bhardwaj for ANI.
All right, so first reaction coming in from the journalist who was present there at the venue, calling this a security lapse. Going back to you, Mayank, on this, take us through what has happened so far. Walk us through the sequence of event, because the journalist who was present there, she is calling this a security lapse. Again, questioning how in such a highly secured area, how can a person come bearing a gun?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. There's no second point or there's no doubt that it was a major security lapse wherein the executive head of the country, which is the president in this case, the president Donald Trump himself was present. Because why it is a security breach? Because before a VIP, a very important person who was an earmarked person, most secured person with multi-layered security, before that person reaches a place, the place is sanitized in so many ways, using the sniffer dogs, using the waves of people who scurry around looking for the things which can be used or which could be dangerous for the person, VIP visitor in this case. So, and even once the place is approved for incident or event, once the VIP enters the place, or in this case the president would have entered, there are layers of spaces which are marked, which is cocoons are marked, which are secured in that way only. The personal space is only open for the people, but in this case, since it was correspondence, people would have been allowed to move freely to interact with each other. So that is the case generally happens wherein security drills are followed. But then before that, the people are also profiled. A sort of a permission is given to the people who will be attending, who will not be attending, or the people who will be, and the security drills are conducted much before, but in this case, because it is an institutionalized event which keeps on happening, there would already be a practice which should be going on since past. So this is the way the things are handled in such high profile visits or events which take place. in this case, a person has been able to increase multiple layers of security with a firearm, has been also successful in firing 5 to 8 bullets. But the best part is nobody was injured as of now. What the reports have come out, as per them, the person has been apprehended and the investigation has been launched. After that,
the shooter has been taken into custody is what we're learning. He is a male from California, from United States only. He's a 31-year-old man named Cole Thomas Allen, who is from California. Mayank, do tell us more about this shooter as well, because we can see in the visuals that he was pinned to the ground. The incident happened in the secured area, the screening area, and the enforcement agencies, they acted very swiftly, pinned him to the ground. All right, see with me, Mayank, I'll come back to you once again. We have the visuals coming in of the shooter that has been taken into custody.